is, again, germane to special education. Then the rest of it is all technology. And the question has come up, well, is this allowable for technology expenditure? And the answer is yes, in all of our classrooms, because we are an entirely inclusive district. We don't have any self-contained special ed classrooms. So we can purchase this technology. It can be used for all students, but certainly would include special education students. So this is legitimate. I'm not going to ramble on about this. You've got a chance to look at it, and I should ask if the board has any questions about approving this evening.
Is there any negative to it? I mean, why would we not want to go for it right away while the money's still out there? I mean, is there any downside to it? If we apply for this, are we not allowed to apply for something else that might be more lucrative down the road?
But we're not applying for it.
Well, it is, you have to submit a
right.
proposal.
Along with Lansing.
Right.
Yeah, there's no, here is the unknown. The claim by the federal government is that this money could be spent anytime over a 2-year period. A year from now, will that still be true? 6 months from now, will that still be true? I certainly am not going to sit here and tell you that on behalf of the federal government that they're not going to change their mind or that money won't get tight and that things will change. So the position that all the districts in Lansing, there's 17, 18 of us are taking is that every district is in the same position as we are, that we want to get everybody's plan before mid-June, that Lansing then collects it all, puts it in one application, and it goes off to, it's actually funneled through Springfield, and that the money then would be available to spend July 1. And in this case, the technology that we're getting, we would need time to purchase it, get it in place at the beginning of the year. So I don't see any downside in doing this now. The downside in waiting is the money going to be available?
Sure.
Yeah, but yeah, I was but when you say apply, Mark, we don't have to qualify.
No.
All we have
They're
to
just
do
saying
is
it's out there and you
In my mind, the question isn't so much, whether we take advantage of the funding. The question is really around what kinds of things we do it for, right? I mean, I think it's the nature of the way this is coming. The only responsible thing to do with it is to buy assets, right? Because if you're purchasing anything that is an ongoing expense, there's no guarantee or really no expectation that the money is going to be here in future years. So if you were to use it and say bring in a teaching resource to fund that, well, year 2 you've got a problem, right? So I think this is the right way to go about using the funds.
Well, is that a lock? Do we have to specify exactly what and how we're using the funds for? Can we decide at a later time if we want to change the allocation? I mean, the main issue tonight is to give approval to go ahead and submit our interest with Lansing.
Right, specifically what's listed there.
For these things.
Right. And here are the principles. This is called the ARRA, the American Recovery and Investment Act of 2009. Here they are. This is from the presentation from the state, okay, actually through Lansing. Spend funds quickly to save and create jobs. Improve student achievement through school improvement and reform. Ensure transparency, reporting, and accountability. Invest one-time ARRA funds thoughtfully to minimize the funding cliff. In other words, they're telling you don't spend it on positions that you are expecting to have over the long term because this money won't be there to do that.
So it seems that we are within, what we are proposing is within the
Correct.
recommendation from the state.
Correct.
I don't have any issues with this. Anybody? I think you raise a good point, and I would agree that, to use it on something that we don't have to necessarily have a sustained cost over time, that the district would then have to.
Where do we need it? I mean, something that will help in the extreme classes.
Well, we're doing technology.
Exactly.
I think the teachers are on board with it.
My concern was getting them trained, or
It's
using them, but
yeah.
that's Mark said it will have one, so that we can train them.
Yeah, and actually, our curriculum council meeting today, we discussed, exactly how this is going to work with, this is a lot of equipment. So every classroom from grade 1 to 8, with a few exceptions, will have Promethean boards and these new document cameras. So, we need to get the initial training and people, John McAtee sitting back in the corner leaning into this conversation, is chomping at the bit to, you have preliminary training, we'll have classes right away at the beginning of the year, and the October Institute Day is dedicated entirely to technology. So we've got a game plan for this. I think it's manageable. The question everybody has, is this really going to happen?
You won't know.
We don't have to make the expense first, right? I mean, we're not at risk.
No.
So if we don't get the funding, then
Right.
figure out what
Nothing off.
they change the funding, right?
Okay.
You don't know what it is yet. Figure out plan B yet.
Can we move on? All right, next one is grade 1 job share proposal. I think the board's been kept up to speed on this thing. Nat and the staff at the elementary, I think, has done a nice job of communicating with parents and kindergartners now as to this option. We have 38 families that have indicated they'd be interested in having the children enrolled in this program. The teachers have sat down with the actual student names, and the concern that the board had, and I share that concern, was that we wanted to be able to create an appropriate composition of each of the classrooms. So it wasn't, kind of out of whack in terms of the normal way that we distribute kids in terms of abilities and gender and all those things. And we can do that. If the board approves this, not all 38 families will be in this. We're looking at class sizes, we range from 20 to 22, I guess. So I think we're at a point now where, we have questions answered. Maybe the board has additional questions. If it is approved, obviously we'll carefully monitor this. I think the most important thing, in addition to the usual kind of dibbles things, is parent feedback continually. How's this going with your child? Are there issues? So we get on top of those things quickly, and hope that if it goes well. And then any other kind of in-flight corrections that need to be made, we'll do. And it's hard to anticipate what those will be at this point, but at least we know the people who are interested in this are out there. Matt, did you want to add anything on this?
No, it's perfect.
Does the board have any other comments or questions with regards to this item?
More kind of getting into the specifics. I know we had talked about the breakdown of the days. I didn't know if that was kind of locked in, that this was the exact schedule.
Mark
of
had
the
said
day.
though that this is what the parents had been notified of, so in all reality, this is what they, that's what they expect.
Okay. The one, excuse me again. The one issue on the very bottom, where they suggest having a day where the students and parents can come in to meet them, I think it's a great idea, but if I were a parent in a different class, I would appreciate having the same opportunity. So if that's something that, is gonna be done prior to school starting, maybe it's something we wanna offer the other first grade teachers to do as well. Again, if I didn't have that teacher and I found out that somebody had the opportunity for their child to meet, Lucy and Judy ahead of time, I might be a little jealous of that. So I think if it's offered to one group of parents, it should be offered to all.
Yeah, did you get that?
Yep.
That's a good point. Okay.
Anything else? Nothing else on this one?
I think it's forward thinking.
All right.
June board retreat. Tip.
I was just, in retrospect, we probably should have been also this election first. But that's okay.
This I think is a quick one. Typically at the board retreat, I don't know if that's always the best use of terms for the meeting, but that's what we call it.
It sounds so much more glamorous than it is.
We typically discuss district goals. We've done other things at these meetings. I think maybe one other thing that the board may be interested in doing is looking at its own evaluation process, because we basically come to the assumption that what we've done in the past is maybe kind of run its course. So there's two suggestions with this is the district goals I think we really need to do, because we're going to have to start talking about a schedule for implementing approved action plans